Some leaders are remembered for their speeches, others for their courage, but a few, very few, are remembered for changing the destiny of their nation forever. This is the story of Jerry John Rawlings, the pilot who became president, the revolutionary who became a Democrat, and the man who shaped modern Ghana. Jerry John Rawlings was born on June 22, 1947 in Accra, Ghana. His father, a Scottish chemist, and his mother, a proud Ewe woman from the Volta region, gave him a mixed heritage, part European, part African, but fully Ghanaian at heart. From an early age, Jerry showed discipline and leadership. At Ashiomota School, one of Ghana's finest institutions, he stood out, not just for his intelligence, but for his fiery spirit and love of justice. Instead of taking a comfortable path, he chose to take skies. He joined the Ghana Air Force and became a skilled pilot, admired for his daring stunts and precision. But even as he soared higher, Rawlings saw something deeply troubling on the ground: a Ghana sinking under corruption and inequality. In the 1970s, Ghana was rich in resources, but poor in leadership. The gap between the wealthy elite and ordinary citizens grew wider every day. Rawlings could not stand by. In May 1979, at just 32-years-old, he led his first military coup. It failed. He was arrested, tried, and sentenced to death, but fate had another plan. His fellow soldiers staged a daring revolt, freed him from prison, and within weeks, Rawlings and the Armed Forces Revolutionary Council took power. It was a stormy period. Several former heads of state and senior officers were executed for corruption. To Rawlings, this was not vengeance. It was a brutal message. Ghana must start again, clean and just. Yet, after only 112 days, Rawlings did something unexpected. He handed power back to civilians, allowing elections, but his story was far from over. By 1981, Rawlings was frustrated once more. Corruption had returned. On December 31st of 1981, he led his second coup, and this time he stayed. He formed the Provisional National Defense Council, ruling Ghana with a vision of a people's revolution. Rawlings was different from many African rulers. He dressed simply, drove himself around Accra, and ate with ordinary people in the market. He called for discipline, sacrifice, and accountability. But his area was not without hardship. Economic reforms under the IMF and World Bank stabilized Ghana, but they also brought pain. Austerity, price hikes, and tough living conditions. To some, he was a hero of the poor. To others, he was a dictator who silenced opposition. Rawlings' Ghana was a land of admiration and fear at the same time. As the 1990s approached, the wind of democracy swept across Africa. Rawlings faced a choice: cling to military rule or embrace change. In 1992, he transformed from soldier to politician. He founded the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, and ran for president. His charisma was unmatched. The people loved him, his honesty, his fire, his ability to speak their language. Rawlings won, and again in 1996, he was re-elected. Ghana had entered a new democratic age with the same man who once took power by force now chosen by the people through the ballot box. For 2 terms, he led Ghana as a civilian president, pushing for development, stability, and modernization. Beyond politics, Jerry Rawlings was a husband and a father. He married Nana Kunadu Agbenyema Rawlings, a strong and influential woman who often matched his fiery energy. Together they raised 4 children, including Zanetor Rawlings, who would later follow him into politics. His family life was filled with love, but also with strong personalities. Rawlings was never just a president. He was a man with deep bonds, laughter, and stories shared around the dinner table. Rawlings built friendship with leaders across Africa. He admired and respected revolutionaries like Thomas Sankara of Burkina Faso. Under his watch, Ghanaian soldiers played a key role in West African peacekeeping mission, earning respect far beyond the country's borders. He was not just Ghana's leader, he was a Pan-African voice, bold and uncompromising. In 2001, Rawlings stepped down after serving his constitutional limit. Yet he remained a strong voice in politics, sometimes supporting, sometimes criticizing, but always speaking with courage. On November 12, 2020, Jerry John Rawlings passed away at the age of 73 years. Ghana mourned deeply. The streets filled with grief and pride. Leaders from across the world paid tribute. Rawlings was gone, but his legacy lived on. Jerry John Rawlings was more than a president. He was a fighter, a reformer, a husband, a father, and above all, a man who believed Ghana could rise. Loved or hated, celebrated or criticized, one thing is certain: he left his mark on history. And so, the story of Rawlings is not just the story of a man, it is the story of Ghana itself, its struggles, its resilience, and its hope for the future. As we remember Jerry John Rawlings, we have to remember a man who fought for Ghana liberation under corruption, under injustice. A man who brought great economic reform, free from neo-colonialism domination. A man who brought discipline and democracy to Ghana. One of Pan-African fighter. A man who gave his life for Ghana. A man who lived for an example to the others. A man who was an ally for other African revolutionary leaders as Thomas Sankara and many others. A man who fought for African liberation under neo-colonialism. So, if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more African history and untold story of our great leaders.